Well, I know this is going to be very reassuring for you, Jesse, but Joe Manchin is here.
Oh.
And he's
nice.
ready. He's ready to work with the other side.
Oh, again.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And he really prides himself on his ability to bring people together and unite people. So he's here. Don't worry. And he told Aaron Burnett all about it.
So, the Pat McCrory, obviously North Carolina governor, he said in July, we will present a president and vice president candidate on a no labels ticket, the no labels group, if Biden and Trump are on track to win their party's nominations. When, Senator, will you make a final decision? Do you still think that you've got runway, if you were to make a decision to jump in, that you still have time?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, my state of West Virginia, the filing dates don't even start until January of next year. So there's no urgency for me. And as you know, the Democrats aren't as strong in the power that they had many years ago. So it's a whole different scenario in the state of West Virginia. But I just, I've got so much to do in front of me right now to get done and to prevent bad things from happening. And once you become an announced candidate for anything, you become a target. I might be a suspected target now in so many different arenas, but still yet I have the ability to sit down with my Democrat and Republican friends and not be a threat to either one of them. And that's what we need. We need people that can bring people together and work together and find a common cause. We've got a lot of challenges, but the bottom line is for the United States to be the superpower of the world and the beacon of hope, you've got to show leadership and you've got to bring it together. I can't just continue to start talking and pointing fingers and blaming everybody else. People want us to work together. They want this to United States and quit being a divided states. They're wore out. I'm wore out. I don't like listening to it no more than you have to report it.
The fake earnestness is maybe my least favorite thing. But the disingenuousness of him to say he's a backstop against bad things happening. Do you really believe he believes that he's a backstop against bad things happening when it's almost exclusively on him that child poverty rates have spiked to like the greatest increase in the history of them tracking child poverty? It's laid at the feet of Joe Biden and his Republican colleagues.
Joe Manchin.
He's not I don't consider him like a Democrat. His colleagues are Republicans in ideology, or they're colleagues in ideology.
You said Joe Biden and his Republican colleagues.
Joe Manchin, sorry. He isn't a backstop against bad things happening. He's a catalyst for bad things to happen, like this increase in child poverty.
Yeah, the child poverty rate more than doubled from 2021 to 2022, and that's largely because of the end of pandemic era benefits.
Yeah.
And Joe Manchin was very vocal about his opposition to the child tax credit specifically, which lifted millions of people out of poverty. And he expressed concern that parents would use their child tax credit money to buy drugs.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I mean, we hear that from Republicans all the time, how they're spending their food stamps, how they're spending their benefits.
Right.
Are they buying steak?
Well, you just did a video that we'll post. It hasn't posted yet, but it will post by the time this is up on YouTube. I would encourage everybody to go and watch Brittany's most recent video on YouTube that really breaks this down and talks about data-driven, research-driven numbers about how that particular lie is just propaganda. Poor people, when given money, aren't spending it wildly on drugs. They're using it for things they need it for, like food and like shelter.
Right. And of course they would.
Yeah.
And this was actually a very enraging moment. I'm glad that you brought it up because Fox News decided to talk about the child poverty numbers. And Harris Faulkner had two commentators on to talk about it. And she was blaming Joe Biden for the child poverty numbers.
And from under 8 to more than 12%. The child poverty rate, and this is one that really jumped out at me, has more than doubled during that same time. Not only is he wrong, he's hurting people, particularly children, with his policies. Marie.
Well, he's actually passed legislation to help reduce child poverty, which most Republicans voted against. So we have to be honest about the facts here. You can find lots of facts and figures on both sides here. Wages are outpacing inflation. We have the lowest inflation rate among the G7.
Can we stay with the children for just a second, though? Because they can't get jobs. So the wages don't matter to the children who are now doubled numbers from what they were in poverty. And it is lipstick on a pig if you tell me that you want to blame Republicans and anybody else.
They vote against it, Harris. They vote against legislation that helps children get out of poverty. That's just a fact. And so, look, I will agree, though, that there is still economic pain out there. And so the Biden team has as their job to make the case to the American people why these numbers that in many cases are good, not all, why they are better than what the alternative would be if Donald Trump is reelected.
I'm sympathetic to this commentator who I think is representing the Democratic view because it is difficult to be live on TV and get your stuff together.
Right. Also, the way it works with your IFB, with your earpiece, Harris Faulkner is just booming over her. It's hard to break in. Sometimes when you see this on TV, it's like, why aren't they just like running roughshod? It's not like a normal conversation. It's a lot of tech issues, and she did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, immediately pivoting, though, to wages was a mistake.
Yes.
And it was a huge opening that she gave Harris Faulkner to jump in because she really should have stuck with the child poverty numbers and how this is at the hands of Republicans because the enhanced child tax credit, the child tax credit is not new. It was enhanced with the American Rescue Plan, and all it did was offer 6 monthly payments, $250 to $300 per child, depending on the age, and just 6 payments of a few $100s lifted millions of people out of poverty. It's that easy.
Yeah.
It's that easy. And Republicans fought against benefits in the American Rescue Plan.
And since those benefits ended, they sunsetted and they weren't extended. Like 9 million people have been added to there's not rolls of poverty, but have been plunged into back into poverty because that small amount of money is all it takes. And if that small amount of money can decrease the number to record lows, it means just by extension, the transit of property, we can end child poverty and poverty in this country just by spending a little bit of money. Stop giving the Pentagon nearly $1 trillion a year. Nearly $1,000 billion a year is given to a non-warring American Pentagon. There's no war. The next 10 nations combined don't spend the money we spend.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And then we have children going hungry. We have people in poverty, languishing in poverty for their entire lives because we want to fund. We have priorities that are ghoulish in America. It is disgusting.
Yeah, and you hear numbers about the child tax credit. Other anti-poverty programs are able to cut poverty by whatever percentage. 30%, 40% was often floated for the child tax credit alone in its ability to cut poverty. If we can cut poverty using one policy by 30 to 40%,
right,
we can eliminate poverty in this country. And it is something that everyone should want because our society will be better. It will be safer. It will be healthier. All of the things that Republicans are complaining about on Fox News, the crime all the time, what will help with crime is alleviating poverty.
Yeah.
And then people aren't stealing at the CVS that you want to buy your deodorant at. So if we take care of poverty, it will solve a lot of society's problems. Not all of them entirely.
Sure.
I'm not saying that crime will be eradicated, but I'm saying that it will significantly decrease if people are not desperate and in need.
But it shows that Republicans don't care about solving those problems. What they care about is giant, inflated, bloated defense budgets, giving tax cuts to billionaires and uber wealthy Americans. But for me, this clip is so emblematic of conservatives and their lies that she can, with a straight face, be blaming Joe Biden and Democrats for the increase in child poverty, completely ignoring all of the facts, all of the evidence, all of the votes. It's similar to these Republicans who go into their districts and tout the infrastructure bill and all of good things that are happening in their districts, not saying, oh yeah, but I voted against this. It's the same exact thing, but it's just a propaganda outlet boosting the message of Republicans. It is very frustrating.
Yes. No, it is.
We would love to hear from you. Sorry, I stepped on your last yes.
I'm just, yes.
657-464.
Preach it. Take us to church.
7609, everybody. You can email a voice memo or a regular old-fashioned email to idoubt@dollemore.com. That is where we're going to leave you today. We love and appreciate you, and we would invite you to help support the work we do on this podcast. Patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. You can pick a tier, take part in the community there. We love our Patreon family, and they would love to welcome you in to the family. Again, Patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. We love you guys. We will see you next time. Until then, for Brittany Page.
That's me.
I'm Jesse Dollemore, and this has been episode 884 of I Doubt It.